Welcome back to News Talk. I'm Bruce DePoit. For a long time, things looked very bleak at FedEx Field. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers were basically wiping the floor with the burgundy and gold, despite head coach Jake Gruden's Code Red declaration of just a few days prior. But all that changed in the second half. Kirk Cousins and company engineering an epic comeback, coming from 24 down to beat the Bucs in the final minute. Noah Frank, sports director for WTOP.com, joins us now. Welcome back. Good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
It's a huge sigh of relief, big moment, an opportunity to generate, if not momentum, then some excitement. This is the sort of win. I don't care who Tampa Bay is. You rally like the team did yesterday. That's a feel good for the team and for the fans.
Yeah, I mean, you have to look at kind of the micro level and the macro level when you're talking about what happened in that vacuum. I mean, it's the biggest win. The come from behind win, the biggest deficit erased in franchise history. 21 had been the previous high. We're talking back to the 30s. That's the biggest deficit ever overcome. So on its own, I mean, a lot of things have to happen to make that happen. It doesn't matter, like you said, opponent and situation, all that. And to get that win in a division that's still kind of, middling along, that doesn't have a clear front runner, going into the bye week especially, all of those things kind of setting up in that vacuum, that's huge. How they got 24-0 down to the Bucs at home in a game that, when you look at that, preseason, and you're looking at the calendar, you're looking at the worst team in the NFL from last year coming into your house to play. I mean, that's a must-win game.
Particularly as if you needed motivation or whatever. Tampa Bay trounced Washington a year ago.
Right.
So that was one where you circle it, you double circle it, where we're going to take care of business at home for a variety of reasons.
Right, and you look at the positives. You look at Kirk Cousins passing for over 300 yards, very high completion percentage rate, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's the first time he's ever done that he's ever, as a pro, passed for 300 plus, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, even just 300 plus and no picks. To go back to find the last time that he threw for over 300 yards with 3 touchdowns and no interceptions, you got to go back to October 23rd, 2010 against Northwestern as a junior at Michigan State. I mean, so when we're talking about really a career game for him. Take away even the game-winning drive. Like, even before you got to that point, this was already the best game of his career.
Talk about the game-winning drive.
Yeah, well, so, and again, micro, macro, it was, everything came together on the game-winning drive. They took advantage of the coverage that was given to them. They completed the short passes underneath to get down the field. They went to a pass that had worked earlier, hitting Jordan Reed on the slant. I mean, they did everything that they needed to do. The fact that they even had a chance for the game-winning drive is, they got a little bit lucky where the Bucs were driving down. The Bucs had 1st and goal at the 5, up by 3. Touchdown puts them up 2 scores, and it's over.
Noah, hold that thought
Sure.
for just on 1 second. We want to take you now to an event happening in Northwest D.C. Mayor Bowser, Chief Lanier, talking to reporters about a police-involved shooting.
MPD returning fire. There is one suspect who is on the scene who is deceased. And MPD apprehended another suspect several blocks from here, also at another retailer on Georgia Avenue. The detectives continue to investigate the scene and collect evidence. And we expect shortly after the evidence collection process to be finished that the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner will come to this scene. So at this time, police continue to investigate the scene and make sure that they're collecting all available evidence. And that's where we are at this incident. So I'm going to turn it over to the Chief of Police to answer any additional questions. I also want to acknowledge and thank Councilmember Brandon Todd, who represents this area on the Council of the District of Columbia, who with our office is providing updates to the Shepherd Park community. The police have closed several streets surrounding this area, and as soon as the evidence collection process is over, those streets will be released. There are several businesses, particularly one, in addition to Morris Miller, who's impacted by the evidence collection process, and we'll hope to be able to turn that area over to them soon. There are no local schools affected by the incident, and all suspects are accounted for.
Really, still very preliminary. I'll update you on what we do know at this point. I know I'm getting some requests from residents of why the area still got crime scene tape, and we have the helicopter up. As you know, we put out a lookout for a second suspect this morning. That suspect was wearing what appeared to be construction-style clothing with a visibility vest. When we did make the stop of that second person, some of that clothing had been discarded. So we are currently, you may see police officers walking through alleys or in the area. We are currently looking for any evidence that might have been discarded by that suspect. So we are not currently looking for anybody else. We believe we have the individuals involved in this case. Again, officers appear to have interrupted this robbery in progress this morning, as did employees of the business. So right now, the employees of the business are safe and uninjured. Officers did engage in respond to gunfire from one of the suspects on the scene that resulted in that suspect being killed. So right now, we're still going in preliminary stages, but we feel comfortable we have everybody involved in this accounted for.
How many officers fired?
I don't have that yet, Peter. That takes a while. It is going to be more than one. Initial officer was by themselves when they arrived on the scene.
No officers were hit or hurt?
No officers were hit by gunfire, no.
Do you know how long the gunfight went on?
I don't. Second suspect was found about 4 blocks south from here on George Avenue. So I think 7,500 block of George Avenue.
Mayor said something or in a store?
They were stopped coming from an alley.
Stopped coming from an alley.
Yes.
That's what I was asking. The mayor said something about another business. That's why I was
near where I think
Yeah, I think just in terms of what we have secured in the crime scene here is impacting a couple of businesses right here on the corner.
Can you address the robbery spike across the district in the last few weeks and this year? I know Capitol Hill is having a meeting, but how does this all fold into that? And what do you
So we've said for a long time that really our biggest criminal enterprise that we have a challenge with is robberies, and it's not just street robberies but commercial robberies. And when we see spikes in robberies, typically it is small groups of individuals who will commit multiple robberies over a period of time. What we've seen in the past few weeks with the robberies, including the ones on Capitol Hill, a group of 3 to 5 persons that were doing 5 or 6 robberies in a night. We've made 2 major arrests in cases in the past 4 days that involved 3 to 5 suspects. I know the one we made last night, our criminal investigative unit or criminal intelligence unit went out last night, and they made an arrest of 3 suspects involved in multiple robberies last night, and have linked those suspects to multiple robberies last Wednesday and Thursday. So we still have to sort through all that evidence to go forward those cases, but immediately after that arrest last night, we saw the robberies drop off, as we did from the arrest last Friday. All right.
Any other questions? Thank you. Thank you all.
D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser, D.C. Police Chief Kathy Lanier talking to reporters not far from Eastern Avenue. That situation that they were describing for us over the last couple minutes taking place basically along Eastern Avenue near the D.C.-Maryland border, where Alaska Avenue and Kalmia Road all come together there in the Shepherd Park community. And you heard the mayor and the chief describe a situation where workers came to work at a liquor store, found folks inside in the middle of a burglary. Police were called. 1 suspect shot dead, a second suspect apprehended a short distance away. A difficult situation for the employees and a situation of concern for residents in that area. And you heard the chief in response to some of the questions she got from reporters at that brief press gathering there describe the situation, the challenge that communities and the police department are facing right now with robberies and burglaries, and some of the steps that the department is doing to bring peace back to the District of Columbia. Live coverage for you here on News Channel 8. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more News Talk, our conversation. Most of you will see more of our conversation with Noah Frank at WTOP right after this.